Welcome to the Horror Unmasked podcast,
where we unmask the monsters
and explore the lore.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Lily. And today,
it's a Reddit scary story. Look, we need a minute to take a chili pilly. For real. We're fresh off of vacay. This one over here is going through Le Ringer with some bullshit. Now solved ish.
Not 100% solved
until
yet. Until tomorrow night.
Then it will be
fine. It'll be fine. Let's just say I'm getting eaten alive.
Yeah. A lot of dumb bullshit, but hey. With education comes responsibility.
It's just what happens when you live with young people.
Including
and
yourself.
are young yourself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, shit happens. But yeah.
It do.
We're fresh off of our vacation that we just did. So we wanted to keep it light and easy for us. So we decided to do some Reddit scary stories again.
Fuck yeah.
Because they're easy. I don't have to write it. She doesn't have to write it.
We just look them up.
We don't have to research anything.
Right. We just look them up and get spooked.
And we speculate.
Yeah. And we discuss.
Head empty. No thoughts. Head empty. Yeah. No thoughts. Head empty.
Nothing
Beautiful.
but spooks up in there.
Oh, yeah.
And cobwebs.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Maybe one brain cell floating around.
He's just chilling. He's just doing his best. He's trying.
Oh, God. He's hanging on for his fucking life.
He's hanging on. He's sitting there and he's like, the breeze is nice.
What was just shitty was that I came back from vacation to just all of the bullshit.
All of the chaos.
All of the chaos.
Yeah.
I would like to sleep in my own bed, and I cannot.
She came back to chaos. I came back to kind of great stuff.
Way to rub it in.
Oh, yeah.
Way to rub it in. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I mean, but one of the things that I've done, you've had done for so long.
Regardless of what I'm going through, it is very awesome. Great news. Incredible stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Happy for you, babe.
But yeah, no. Yeah, we were in Tennessee. Gatlinburg.
We were in Gatlinburg. And then we were in Savannah.
Mm-hmm. Savannah for a little bit. And then
St. Augustine
we hung out in St. Augustine for a little bit. And then we went home.
Yep. We're travelers here.
Yeah. Holy shit.
There it is.
That one had an echo in your body. It had an echo. Shit. Damn.
Sorry, guys. I just wanted to share my deepest, darkest secrets,
But yeah.
We're close like that.
No, the vacation was pretty great. I mean,
We got some spooks of our own.
We did an escape room.
We did 2 escape rooms.
We did 2 escape rooms. The first one was...
Technically 3 escape rooms if you want to count us running out of a building.
True facts.
We escaped that room.
Yeah, we did some Ripley's stuff, some Ripley Believe It or Nots and stuff. And there was a haunted adventure from the Ripley thing. And that one was fun. A little complicated.
Let's just say the ending, it was like a little spooky house. At one part, it was so dark that I literally did not know where I was going and actively was calling out to the people like, hey, can you
really don't
turn
know
a
where
light
we're going.
on? I don't know where we're going. I can't see.
They really needed to have like glowing blood splatter or something.
But then when you look at their advertisement, it says like,
it does
feel
say,
your way.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not stretching my fucking hands out.
I'm not going to touch something that I have no clue what it could be.
No. I'm not putting my hands out in front of me. No.
Fuck that nonsense.
Hell no. Zero interest. Also, animatronics can snap your fucking finger off. I don't know what's in that darkness.
Literally.
Hell no.
This is Five Nights at Freddy's.
For real. I was about to say that. I was going to be like, the bite of the, Anyway.
Chi-Chi, whatever her name is. What is it?
Bite of 89. Or 70 something. I can't remember the date, but it's a very historical bite in the franchise.
I don't know.
Regardless. But yeah.
But then by the end of it, there was a guy chasing us with a chainsaw, and so we ran into the elevator, and
we literally hit every button but the close button.
They became those guys, and I was just sitting there watching them like, what the fuck?
What's funny is that the button that took us to the floor we needed to was the only one not pressed. So I pressed it and then went further to close the door. I was like, we have to select the one that actually goes to the floor that we need to go to.
Oh. No, but they pressed every single button. I was like, guys. But then it only took us to like the right floor. So
yeah, it took us to like a jump scare floor with like one of the like dudes in like a shock chair.
Yeah, and then he was like bashing his head.
Yeah, and then it took us to the bottom floor.
Yeah, but that was cool. That was an escape room of its own. And then we did 2 others.
We did,
which were awesome.
A wonderful escape room that was Special Ops by Escape Games.
Yeah,
it was so good. It was so much fun.
So much fun. It was so beautifully done. I got to see one of my friend's uncles because he was the actor. He was the bad guy.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
It was
I
a
know
lot of
him.
fun. Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
I've been to his house. It was weird.
And then we did another one, which could have been a little better than what it was.
Yeah. It was really nice and really beautiful, but like that was hard work, man.
I feel it was called Curse of the Kraken's Eye.
And I don't mean mentally. Physically, they made us do stuff.
But also, they had a lot of like, there was some technical issues.
Yeah.
Because I guess a previous person who had done it had broke something.
But
to the
that
point
wasn't
where
the
it
only
didn't really
issue
help.
Of, like,
we were helped a little bit too much than what we probably should have.
And I did not like it because I had all the information and I could have figured it out.
Yeah.
But then they just gave it to us.
We
and
didn't.
I was like, no.
We didn't get to fully solve it the way we would have wanted to solve it.
And we had like 8 minutes left, so we probably could have done it.
We could
so
have 100% done it.
Boo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, it's all good.
It was still a good experience.
Fun time in Gatlinburg.
But we're definitely going to do more escape rooms.
We saw a bear.
We saw a bear. Multiple bears.
Multiple bears outside of our house.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. Mm-hmm. Real fun stuff.
Yeah. Beautiful mountain scenery.
Terrifying trolley.
It was
Sky tram.
Yeah. We took a gondola
up to the mountain.
Up the mountain. It was a lot of fun. Took a lot of pretty pictures.
Yeah. I was scared.
Yeah. And then Savannah was nice. We were only there for a night.
We were going to do the most spooky ghost tour, and you would have heard about that.
You would have heard about it if it had not been a torrential rain downpour and we were on Riverside as the stairs flooded and the road flooded.
It was terrifying. Like, it was coming at us.
It was intense.
We got inside, and the loudest thunder I've ever heard in my life.
Thunder, lightning. It was
bad.
Going.
It was so bad.
It was an intense experience of all of that shit. Like, for real.
Craziness.
So we will eventually have a true to go Savannah experience. Because, I mean, come on. Of course we have to go to Savannah. It's one of the most fucking haunted places in America. Oh. So, obviously.
Because lots and lots and lots of history there.
So much history. But we did do it the next day. We did do it like a little trolley ride around the town and got to see some historical spots, which was pretty nice.
It's so beautiful there.
Next time we'll probably go check them out a little bit more, you know, and also got some food recommendations. So, hell yeah.
Yep.
Looking forward to that. But
good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready for Reddit Scary Stories?
Dun, dun, dun.
After really shitty
lightning, thunder,
lightning, and thunder.
Light effects.
A little fucking my little 10.
Yeah. All right, you go first. Me go first.
I got a thicky bagiggy one.
Okay.
Do you want me to go first? You go.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. My first story. And these are all under the tag of Reddit True Scary Stories.
Not for me.
Oh, not for you?
Not for me. I did no sleep, but I did the ones that were like, this is my personal experience.
Oh, all of mine are under the True
I tried looking
Scary
there, but I
Stories.
couldn't really find anything that I like, so I moved on.
So, which means that mine are kind of based on more of an experience that someone may have gone through versus like
No, mine are things that,
spoopies.
like people have gone through, but it's fucked up. And they kind of tell it in like a story-like way. So it's like these people were like, yeah, this happened to me, but I'm going to spice it up a little bit.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Make it sound.
Mine might be a little bit more of like them being
Just,
like, yo, this is my experience. This is what happened. This is how you get to this place. This is, So.
All right, go ahead.
All right. My first one is a night shift in radiology.
Oh, God.
I worked in the radiology department in a hospital in Cardiff, Wales, UK for about 3 years as an admin and clerical officer before getting a promotion working in medicine. During these 3 years, I saw a lot of things, ranging from patients dying in the MRI scanners to patients having an X-ray for inserting a meat thermometer into their urethra.
Yeah, sounds right.
Sounds about right. Nights always seemed the craziest. One time a patient came in with armed police after an altercation which involved a knife in the middle of the city center, and just so happened the person he had the altercation with was having an X-ray too.
Oh, God.
This caused a second altercation right in front of me.
Yep.
Chairs were thrown, a trash bin or two, and then wheelchairs.
Oh, God.
So I've seen things. Some funny, some stressful, and some sad. And many bonkers. But this one night, something scary. I would start at night shift about 1900 hours. Then would work
7
till 800 hours. It's 8:30 till next 8:30.
Damn, so that's a 15-hour shift?
Yeah, that sounds all right. 15, 14-hour shifts are pretty standard.
5 plus 8. Just kidding. My math isn't mathing. Like a 13, 14-hour shift.
Yeah, that's about standard. Till the next morning. Mm-hmm. This was the standard night shift for our department. Mm-hmm. We would usually do 3 nights in a row before doing 4 days off. After the third night...
great.
Yeah.
Actually.
After the third night, you were ready to sleep for a week. The strange thing was, this was my first night of the 3. So not at all tired.
Where you would be
feeling
where that drowsiness.
And you might have more of that like
oh, did I just see
brain
something?
Statement. Yeah. It started off normal. I arrived at the department, took over for the day staff, logged into my PC. During this time, we usually would set up our phones or tablets to watch movies or the latest TV series, as there would be a lot of downtime between patients. Mm-hmm. Like I said, the first few hours, nothing that interesting. Just your average run-of-the-mill night in radiology. Then it came to my break. Now, before I tell you more, I should probably explain the layout of this hospital. The hospital is the largest in Wales. It's a teaching hospital, and it's pretty old. Now, the best way to get...
So should you technically be saying this in a British accent?
Technically. But that would require a lot of brain power.
You're on the 3rd night shift?
Yeah. So, no, they're on the 1st night shift.
I'm talking about you.
Oh, me? Yeah. Hell yeah.
Don't have the brain power?
Oh, yeah. Now, the best way to get from A to B in this hospital is through what we call the tunnels or the catacombs.
No.
These consist of very dimly lit corridors, old abandoned rooms, tunnels, and other creepy, decrepit areas.
So I already believe that you saw something haunted.
Facts.
You're in a hospital. It's dark and creepy tunnels.
The morgue is also found in these corridors.
Yep.
So it's not a nice place to be during the day, let alone in the middle of the night. But it's the quickest way to get places if you're staff. There's always been rumors and mumblings of strange things happening in these tunnels.
You would never catch me down there. You can fuck all the way
I would
off.
take the long way around. Bye-bye, guys.
I'd get my steps in. That's how I'd be
get my
like,
steps
no,
in.
I need to
exercise. Get my steps in.
Get my steps in.
Some people say they saw ghosts in the old-fashioned porter uniform, taking wheelchairs to pick up patients. Others say they have seen shadows following them from the corners of their eyes. But one person has claimed they were attacked by a person wearing an old nurse's uniform from the 70s.
Okay.
This place is creepy, even at the best of times. But for me, never really fazed me. I've been down there hundreds of times. Before, the worst experience up to this point was having a sluice pipe drip human waste onto my head. That in itself was a horror show. But tonight would be something altogether different. And maybe not even of this physical world.
Ooh.
Like I said before, very quiet night. I had been watching the latest series of One Piece because I'm a geek. During my downtime, then a radiographer or radiology technician for my American friends out there, because they are referred to as two different things, came to take over and cover for my break. I decided to go to the 5th floor where the sanctuary, multi-faith chapel, was located. On a night shift, it was one of the most peaceful places in the hospital. But to get there, I had to walk through the tunnels to reach the nearest elevator. I set off on my journey, which would usually take about 15 minutes. Scanned my key card on the main entrance to the tunnels, then proceeded to walk through. 2 minutes in, I started to feel like someone was walking behind me.
Mm-mm.
It being a busy hospital and basically the tunnels act like the highway, I didn't think anything of it. Suddenly, I heard panting, like someone was trying to catch their breath after going for an intense run. So I turned around to check and saw nothing. A bit strange, but thought it was nothing.
No, you didn't. That would immediately freak me out.
Maybe just one of the pipes above my head creaking or a generator pumping. So I carried on walking, but I kept feeling like someone or something was watching me and was walking behind me.
Then you trust that instinct.
Out of sheer confusion and fear, I missed my turn towards the elevator and found myself in a large section of the tunnels that I had never been before.
Oh, no.
Littered with old stretchers, beds, hospital furniture, and equipment. Some of this stuff was over 50 years old, maybe older. Just left to decay in a dark, smelly, decrepit, and dusty corridor. This was starting to really creep me out because in all of this confusion, I realized I was lost. It almost felt like I had fallen into the back rooms. Everything looked the same. I could feel a tightening in my chest, and I could feel the start of a panic attack. I remember clutching my chest and running down a corridor trying to find a signpost or something to tell me where I was.
I thought you were going to say clutching my pearls. Valid as well.
Kinda. The sense that something was watching me got stronger. Suddenly, I felt something hit my arm with force, almost like someone using a baseball bat.
Oh my God.
I remember falling to the ground, pulled myself across the floor towards the cold, dusty wall.
Pulled herself?
And looked around frantically, trying to find an explanation to what the heck just hit me. Then something caught my eye. It was almost like a black mist with glowing red eyes. It was about 20 meters away from me, just hovering in the middle of the corridor. Was this the thing that had been stalking me the entire time? I got back up and sprinted. I ran down what felt like 100 different corridors until I found a housekeeper, janitor. He asked me what was wrong because I looked pale, but I couldn't get any words out.
Because if you told anybody, they'd put you right into the psych ward at that hospital, huh?
He then grabbed me by the arm with a firm grip and said, "Did you see it too?"
Yup. Okay.
That was the last time I ever stepped foot in the tunnels. To this day, I hear rumors of strange things. I'm not sure what I saw that night. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I was stressed. Maybe it was something. Why else would the janitor ask me if I'd seen it too?
Right.
What else is down there? Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. I won't be going to find out. Thanks for taking the time to read this. Josh.
Well.
Yeah.
Well.
Yup. So, whatever hospital in Cardiff, Wales. Nope. Deuces. I'm not going there.
Why not? We could do
ghost hunting.
Some ghost hunting. But the minute I was like, nah, they'll put you in the psych ward, and then I was like, you ask the janitor. He's probably down there all the time. He probably knows exactly what is down there, and he's probably seen it many times.
Yep.
So
That's why he asked.
Yep.
Did you see it too?
Yep.
Because he wants to confirm it with someone else.
So he knows he's not going crazy.
Hell yeah.
You probably eased that man's mind so hard.
Hell yeah. You ready? You got your first spoopus story?
I do. This is from No Sleep. 7 years ago.
Okay.
A long time.
That one was literally like 3 days ago.
Yeah. Mine are from all different times.
Mine are very recent. Like within the last 3 days.
Okay. So this is called A Package Marked Return to Sender. Doesn't really sound very spooky, but it gets
a
weird.
night in radiology.
Yeah, right. Well, night. No thanks. Already off-putting. All right, so. My neighbor is one of those annoying wannabe YouTube personalities. Over the years, I've seen him cough out cinnamon, lay flat on the hood of his car as it slowly creeps down the driveway, and douse himself in lukewarm water, all while screaming, "Epic win! Epic fail! Fuck! Epic maintenance of the status quo." For all I know. It can get tiring to watch him go about his shenanigans in the pursuit of viral fame. So when he knocked on my door the other day, told me he was going away for a few weeks, and asked that I get his mail, honestly, it was a relief. I can't explain the peace of mind I had knowing I didn't have to brace myself for any of his stupidity for a while. I was always afraid his stunts would wind up bleeding over into my life. Things were pretty normal for the first couple of days. He received a few bills, a bit of spam, and what I could only assume was a birthday card. Then, one evening, I got home to find a cardboard box waiting on his front porch. In big red letters was written, "Return to sender."
Okay.
No small fry, but I admit I had trouble lifting the box on my own. It was really freaking heavy. Lugging it across the road to my house was even harder, and I quickly realized there was no way I was going to drag it up the stairs and through my front door. I decided I'd leave this package in my garage. It wasn't like I kept my car in there. The garage door was a piece of shit that refused to open without a good thug and a whack.
Damn.
It was less trouble just leaving the car in the driveway than it was to fight with the garage door every morning and night. In hindsight, I should have set the package down while I struggled to open the tricky door, but you know how it is when you've got a good grip on something. No point in setting it down if you don't have to. It was as I kicked the door for a third time that I lost my grip on the package.
I was about to say.
And it fell to the ground. I heard a slight crack inside.
Ooh.
Shit, I cursed. I hoped I hadn't broken anything important, but figured I just wouldn't tell my neighbor about it and let him assume the break happened en route. Hands-free, I finally managed to get the garage door unstuck and boy did it screech in protest as it rolled up and over me. I dragged the box the rest of the way, setting it in the corner for whenever my neighbor would come back to claim it. And then I forgot all about it. Until a few days passed, that is. I'm not sure exactly how long it took for the smell to waft in from the crack under the garage to the house door.
Oh, no.
But it came in slow progression. It was a sickly sweet odor, similar to a skunk.
Mm.
And for the first few days after I smelled it, I genuinely assumed that's exactly what it was. Roadkill that had left its mark on my house. It was only when I realized the scent was growing more intense instead of fading that I went looking for a source. That's when I opened the garage door, and that's when the odor knocked me back, holding my nose. The culprit wasn't hard to identify. The only change in my garage was the box in the corner. I remember thinking it must have been one of those meat-of-the-month subscription boxes. The meat must have gone rancid from being left out of the fridge for so long. How much meat could have been in there for the box to have been so large and heavy? An entire freaking cow? I covered my nose as I approached the box, a pair of scissors in my hands.
Girl, don't open it. Girl, don't open it. What are you doing? What are you doing? Call the cops. What the fuck? It smells like something's died. I'm gonna open this fucking box.
I probably wouldn't have needed them to open it, as it had become soggy enough at the bottom to poke through with a finger. But I wasn't about to poke my finger into the spoiled meat juices.
That's fucking gross.
That soggy bottom was the reason I had to open the box in the first place. If I tried to drag it out whole, everything would spill onto the floor. I was going to have to dump the pieces of meat, one garbage bag at a time, and take them down to the dumpster, a process I wasn't looking forward to. My scissors tore through the tape along the top of the cardboard box. I thought the smell couldn't get any worse, but as I flipped the flaps open, I discovered a whole new gamut of stink.
Mm-hmm.
It was like opening a burning oven, but instead of a heat wave, I was met with waves of piss, sweat, shit, and putrefaction.
Ew.
It was so bad that I staggered back and had to force down the puke, begging to guzzle out of me. Love that. I don't think I could have handled that scent mingling with the horrors coming out of the box. I'm not ashamed to admit that I ran out of the door for a breath of fresh air, but in the short time I'd spent in the garage, the smell had become so ingrained in the fabric of my clothes that it clung to me like a shadow. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Nothing I tried could keep the smell out of my nostrils. Not air fresheners, not a face mask, not 3 showers, and a change of clothes. Every second that box lay open in my garage was another second the smell was allowed a foothold into my home.
Call the cops.
I had to bite the bullet. Guess what?
Nope.
They didn't call the cops.
They didn't call the cops, clearly.
I returned to the garage.
Uh-huh.
The flaps of the box still open, as though inviting me to look. I was prepared, a clothespin pinning my nostrils shut, a garbage bag in one hand, the strongest cleaner I could find in the other, and long rubber gloves to keep my skin from having to touch what was inside. But as it turns out, I needed none of those things. I wouldn't have to touch or clean the contents of that box. I would only have to suffer the nightmares every night.
Mm-hmm.
You see, there was meat in that box, but it didn't come from a cow or a pig. No, it was worse than that. It was my neighbor. Dead. Still in one piece, but dead. I called the cops.
Finally.
And naturally, they took me in for interrogation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard not to suspect the man with the corpse in his garage, after all. Thankfully, they soon realized I wasn't involved. My DNA might have been all over that box. The smell might have left a mark throughout my house. But there was one piece of irrefutable evidence in my neighbor's own hands that proved my innocence. A vlogging camera.
I had a feeling that this was going to be what this was.
They showed me the footage only once. I'm not sure if they were allowed to or if they felt so bad for me they figured it couldn't hurt. Either way, I saw it. My neighbor was sitting in the box outside of a shipping facility, laughing, as he told the world how he was going to mail himself across state lines.
I knew it.
He'd brought pee bottles, food, a pillow, and a few flashlights.
I knew that's what he was going to do.
His friend, a guy I'd seen at his place several times to help with his stunts, closed the lid and presumably dropped him off for shipment. Throughout the next couple of hours, or days, I'm honestly not sure, my neighbor recorded a few short clips about his progress. I think I'm in a truck now. I can feel it moving. Must be in a warehouse. Pretty warm here. Still got plenty of food. That kind of stuff. And then, on the last entry, the box toppled over. He broke his neck, and that was it. The camera recorded until either the memory card got too full or the battery died. There's only one thing I didn't tell the police after they showed me the video. One thing I heard in the footage that will haunt me to the day I die. Just after the tumble that broke his neck, I heard the familiar screeching sound of my garage door.
Yo! You murdered your own neighbor.
You murdered your neighbor and didn't even know.
Holy shit.
You didn't even know.
Holy shit.
That's
fascinating.
That's crazy.
That was a fascinating one.
Yep.
I like that twist at the end.
Yep. Did you like my in the middle? That was me realizing.
Gotcha. I was wondering. I was like, you were shocked face, and I was like, what the fuck? I thought you saw something or read or something popped up somewhere.
I'd skimmed through this, and I'd read that last part of like, I just read that last part. I heard the familiar screeching sound in my garage door.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that he'd like broken his neck.
Yeah.
So the fact that it was the neighbor that broke his neck.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That's wild.
It gave me chills.
He literally made it home alive.
Mm-hmm.
But because of what he...
Yep.
Wild.
Yep.
Because this whole time I was thinking it was... in my brain this whole time, I was thinking it was like a smaller box for some reason. And I was like, how would it be that heavy? And then when you kind of just started to describe it, I was like, oh, it is a massive box.
It's a big box. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Of course. Fucking nuts.
Oh, that's so funny. That's...
Yeah. It's I was always afraid his stunts would wind up bleeding over into my life.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
For
well,
sure.
they did.
They did, for sure.
They did, just not the way you thought they would.
Crazy fucking twist.
Hell
Crazy
yeah.
fucking twist.
And a secret murderer.
Mm-hmm.
A sneaky murderer.
Yep. Because you don't have to tell the cops nothing.
Nothing.
They just assumed he died
on transit.
Because, hello, that's a fucking stupid thing to do.
It is an extremely stupid thing to do, is to try to mail yourself.
Technically, he did die on transit.
He did die on transit. He died on arrival.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well.
DOA.
Dumb people doing dumb shit.
Yep.
Alrighty. My next one is called Store.
How profound.
Store.
This sounds really spooky.
Mm-hmm. It happened late at night, around 11 p.m. Perhaps when me and my friend Andrew felt our stomachs were empty. We decided to go shop at Walmart since it was open 24 hours.
Are we sure one of us didn't write this?
I know, right? To buy some snacks. After arriving, the whole parking lot in itself felt uneasy. There was no other parked cars besides ours. When we successfully parked and got out, my friend teased me with scary noises I laughed at the noises he was making, seeming to imitate a ghost poorly. When I caught my breath, my friend stopped walking towards the store. I looked up at him, and his expression was serious. He looked seriously frightened, wrinkles arranged in horror. I asked him what was wrong when he randomly pulled my body and whispered in my ear, "A shadow is following us," he said, his voice sounding truthful. I brushed it off by declining his allegation, saying he was just messing with me. In truth, I was severely afraid myself for his random action, almost believing him. We continued to walk towards Walmart yet again, but the aura surrounding us felt eerie. Furthermore, my friend was clutching my wrist harshly, his head looking side to side. He really was serious about what he said. When we got inside Walmart, my body felt heavy with something I didn't know, like some pressure was pressed against me. It seemed my friend felt it too. I tried to lighten the mood with an inside joke. It only half worked, since Andrew only chuckled a little. As expected, the Walmart was deserted, save for us. I looked over at the cashier counter, and I was surprised to find nobody tending there. It truly felt like a scene from a horror movie. Before getting some midnight snacks from the snack aisle, Andrew suggested that we look around at the store first to try to find someone working, he said. I heartily agreed, admitting now how afraid I was. I even blamed him for my fear. If he only didn't scare me on our way here, I wouldn't have felt like this. But when I said the words, I couldn't help but silently admit I was being in denial, that I was truly afraid from the start. It was only then that I started to think I truly felt something following us on our way to the supermarket, as Andrew had said, but my own delusions or for my revelation from my self-denial, I did not know. We managed to find someone working at the other side of the store on another counter. There, we saw a girl in a Walmart uniform, a cashier. We brought a dozen worth of snacks to her, and she packed it up, giving us the bag and the receipt. It all happened in heavy silence. On our way back to our car, I finally admitted how I felt there was something watching us go back. Me and my friend looked around for the entity that we both felt its presence. I was only halfway to our car with our bag of snacks as Andrew was behind me when he immediately ran towards my back and pushed me forward with him to the car. When we were safely there inside, doors locked, I finally understood what was going on. I looked at the back window of the car as Andrew started the engine and saw a man in all black following us with a bloodied knife.
Oh my God.
Disclaimer. I know this was not really a satisfying ending, but alas, that was the truth as I know it.
Oh my God. No, it's still crazy.
Like,
That's still better crazy.
we don't, unfortunately, some areas post-COVID time no longer have 24-hour Walmarts, which is sad and stupid.
Right.
But some places do still have them.
Like, it's so sad because I don't know if I'll ever get that vibe back of those late night 3 a.m. Walmart runs when nobody's in the Walmart and it's just you.
Yeah, yeah. And it's
so nice.
truly creepy too.
I love it.
It's that you're really there by yourself.
Like there's not a soul.
No. I remember doing that for birthdays. We would go in like midnight and go to Walmart and fuck around.
Yeah. Fun times, good times.
But yeah.
Yeah. Be careful out there in those parking lots, guys.
For real, actually. Like, actually.
Yeah, like...
Parking lots can be some of the most dangerous places.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I could go on and on about, like, checking under your car before you get in it. If there's $1 or something tied... Like, if there's $1 in your windshield, don't take it.
A zip tie.
If there's a zip tie on your door...
A bear, a stuffed
If
animal.
there's a zip tie on your door, drive to the police station.
Yeah.
Just lots of things.
Like a bear.
A stuffed bear.
Anything like that. Don't take it off. Don't touch it. It could be laced with shit.
Yep. Don't touch it. Don't take it off. If you feel like your car has been hijacked in some way like that, go to the police station.
I think we've mentioned it before, but like, you know, if you feel like you thought your car may have gone over something, don't open your door.
No.
Just keep going.
Yep. Like if you are in the parking lot and you feel your car roll over something when you're backing out, or
that's usually a trick to get you to open your door.
Keep driving.
So
seriously, be safe. I'm not going to share my tricks like that though.
At least have some sort of a light source with you. Have a light source and have your phone on hand.
And have something in your car to help protect yourself.
Yeah. Have your phone on hand. Shit. Pretend like you're talking to somebody.
No, yeah.
For fuck's sake, pretend like you're talking to somebody.
There's been a couple times I've had no choice but to get gas at night. And I literally just pretend like I'm on the phone with somebody. As an actor, it's easy just because I can make shit up on the fly.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of love doing it. It's like a little improv game.
I mean, in the middle of the night when we came after the movie, you had me lock the car door while I walked away.
I did.
You were like, I don't want to know.
I mean, in hindsight, I probably should have just gone with you. But,
I'm like, it's fine, yeah.
Because that would have been the safest thing. But
yeah.
Yeah. I know I could probably just call somebody when I'm at the gas station for real.
The gas station?
Yep, that's where I get my gas.
Mm-hmm. You fill up on the rainbow.
Every day. Every day. But yeah, I could just call somebody for real, but
yeah,
it's fun.
I mean, if you're good at like ad-libbing bullshit.
Oh, I absolutely am. Like, I'm really good at coming up with like the craziest stories if somebody's listening too.
But also what's nice is that there are people who make videos. I've had someone...
Oh, yeah, like on TikTok and stuff?
Where I'll save, or even on Instagram that have shifted it over to Instagram. They will do the whole, like, you're calling.
Yeah.
And it'll be him and then, like, his mother, but it'll be them pretending to be your sibling calling, or your sibling and your mother calling, being like, hey, checking up on you. I can see on your, you know, your location where you are, you know, that you're going to be close, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. Like, they do it, and they will have written there, like, the prompt of what you should respond back with, because it's like a video call, so it makes it easy for you to be able to look at your screen.
I wonder if people use that enough to where other, like, if you're in a Uber or something, if they've picked up on it, like it's an actual video and not a call. That'd be interesting.
I mean, they usually start it by putting the sound of a call. And
I'm
the sound
saying,
of it
like, if they've heard that video enough times to where they know that it's not an actual call.
I mean, also, another good concept is, I know, usually this is not a great one for being in, like, a very isolated situation. But if you're in a situation with other people, there is that, the hand symbols that you can do and things like that. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do to
like
kind
the
of...
rolling your fingers down and then like over your thumb.
That is
so
one that is with prominent.
Like hand, like
you're about to say hi, and then you end it with like a you can
thumb in the palm, four fingers down. over your thumb.
Also, there's more than enough circumstances where people like in Starbucks have like been like, oh, here's your drink, and something is written on the drink.
Yep.
Being like, hey, do you need help? Like, take the lid off if you want us to call somebody, you know?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of places that know, like, that give you little signals and things like that to help.
And for all the scary people in the world, there are
a lot of good people.
There are people who are going to help you out in situations like that.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah.
Yeah,
You got your next one?
I do. This one doesn't really have a cool title. It's just, I've been a search and rescue diver for 12 years. We see a lot of strange and disgusting things, but what I saw last week has me questioning both my job and reality.
Alrighty.
Bum, bum, bum!
Very Cthulhu sounding.
Yeah. Imagine. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I have the opposite of megalophobia, if you don't already know this. I am so enthralled with ginormous objects and things and creatures. So if I saw Cthulhu, my mind would burst, but in a good way. Anyway. I've been involved with water search and rescue for 12 years now. I've seen a lot of upsetting and even unexplainable things in my time, but those pale in comparison to what I saw recently. Water search and rescue is often a depressing job. When someone gets lost in a forest, they can still be found alive days later, but when we get a call, it's almost always body recovery.
Yeah.
People don't last long in the water.
No.
Not at all.
The muscle strength to keep yourself floating is limited.
Yeah. I can tell you exactly where, but I live in a northern territory known for its water sports. Fishing, kayaking, diving, whatever it is, our waters probably have a solid reputation for it. Despite that, this area isn't some kind of resort. The waters are cold and oftentimes vicious. Search and rescue operations here can be grueling, and not many stick with it. There are a few older guys who have been doing it longer than me, but I'm one of the most experienced around. Like I said before, this job is more body recovery than anything, especially here. We save more live moose from the water than live humans.
Yeah.
And when we get a call about a missing child, well, we'd be better off just giving our condolences.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just how the waters are here. Our small town has one of the highest drowning rates in the country. But we look anyway. And we usually find a body. I've considered quitting many times in my career. Most people quit after their first recovery. In training, we tried to emphasize just how much water can distort a corpse. But nothing can prepare you for the harsh reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
horrific.
Yeah. It's not uncommon for us to find bodies bloated beyond recognition. Sometimes they barely seem human.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of divers don't last long after seeing something like that, but I continued to do it after all these years. I figured if I didn't, then no one would.
Yeah.
That's very noble of you.
Yeah, it is.
Because a lot of time, like, that brings a lot of people a lot of closure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Because if you don't have a body, like, it's hard to really accept that that person's gone.
It's also, there's like a level of mental capacity that you have to do those kinds of jobs.
Yeah. Yep.
That's definitely a therapy multiple times a week
Mm-hmm.
thing.
So he figured if he didn't do it, then no one would. However, the things I saw last week have made me reconsider that decision.
Damn.
So you're already seeing bloated bodies.
Yeah. You're already seeing horrific
beyond
scenes.
recognition. Yeah, horrifying stuff that make people quit after day one. And it
only
took you
now.
12 years.
And only
Like,
now you
what the
saw
fuck did you see?
something that fucked you up.
Mm-hmm. I got the call around 11 a.m. A father had taken his 10-year-old son fly fishing. At one point, the father managed to stab a hook all the way through his finger. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. He went back up to the truck to get a first aid kit. The boy was gone when he returned a few minutes later.
Take your kid with you. Hi, hello.
Literally. When I first heard the story, I hung my head in silence for a moment. It had been raining heavily for almost a month now, and the waters were running faster than ever. To make it worse, it was unusually cold for the season. A number of people had gone missing in recent weeks. Many of them had yet to be found. I had little hope of finding the boy alive. Me and a couple other divers were at the site where the boy went missing within an hour, and a large search and rescue team located a few towns over was headed our way. We talked with the father and even searched the forest for a bit, hoping that he had just wandered off. But eventually we realized that we would have to begin searching in the river.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take your kids with you.
Mm-hmm. Take your kids with you.
Yeah, this one's very long. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
My
My first one was long as shit.
this one was
I got 2 long ones and 2 medium ones. So you're all good.
all right. The moment I got into the water, I knew the boy was gone. The current was worse than it had ever been, and even I had difficulty navigating the icy river. We looked for hours in the surrounding areas, and even expanding our search once the larger team had arrived. The boy was nowhere to be found. I was surprised. I hadn't expected to find him alive, but I had at least anticipated finding a body. However, there was no trace of him. The sun got low and the air grew colder. We were considering calling it off as nightfall approached and resuming the search the next day when I discovered something. There's a lot of creek beds around the river. Many of them have dried up as a result of encroaching vegetation or man-made efforts to divert the water. We usually don't pay any attention to them. However, with all of the recent rain, I noticed that one of the larger creek beds had begun flowing again. A surprising amount of water crashed through it, easily enough to carry a young boy. The creek ran directly across a bend in the river, connecting it at 2 points. I followed it and realized that the boy could be located outside of our initial search area. As I approached where the creek reconnected with the main river, I felt a sinking feeling in my gut. There's a place in the river where not even search and rescue divers are supposed to go.
Damn.
It's known as bad water.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. This area lies on one half of the river and runs for about 100 yards. It's near a densely vegetated area, so we don't often have to worry about people swimming there. But a lot of disappearances occur in the surrounding waters. Despite that, I've been warned not to dive there since I began doing search and rescue. Supposedly, the undercurrent is so strong that even the most experienced swimmer would be swept away in an instant.
Shit.
Don't go near bad water. It was a mantra of the older divers.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, she know.
You're fine.
The creek ended exactly in the center of the bad water region. As I reached it, I stopped and chewed my lip thoughtfully. If I went back and reported this to the other divers, they would tell me to let it go.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me dive there. But deep down, I felt like the boy's body must be tangled up in the weeds nearby. If only I could find it. I hated the idea of that kid being stuck down there, slowly bloating and rotting away, while his parents sat at home wondering where their boy had gone. Yeah, fair enough.
Yep.
Bad water didn't seem to be that bad.
It didn't seem, yeah.
I'd seen rougher waters before, but I knew looks could be deceiving. Just below the surface, it could be flowing faster than I ever imagined, and I'd be swept away in an instant. Besides, I wasn't supposed to dive alone. I almost turned back, but something made me stay. I stared into the river for a moment, thinking about the boy. Then I put on my gear and dropped into the icy waters.
Making a ballsy decision.
The first thing I noticed was that the current actually seemed pretty weak. As a matter of fact, it was weaker than the rest of the river.
Weird.
The water was extremely deep there, and I could see only blackness below as I dove. I kicked deeper and deeper, thinking that the current might pick up lower down. But the opposite seemed to be true. The water was almost completely still.
Hell no. Cursed water, I'm out. It ain't bad water, it's cursed water. Get the fuck out.
I went even deeper until finally green shapes began to materialize in front of me. I thought I'd finally reached a bed of weeds, but as I kicked lower, the truth came into full view.
Nope.
I felt vomit come up at the sight. An odd and dangerous sensation when you're wearing a scuba mask.
No, no.
Countless arms stuck up from the ground below. I thought I had come up on a trove of bodies, but the disgusting reality became even more apparent only a moment later.
Ew.
The arms grew directly into the ground.
Ew.
They even had roots that spread out from the base. It was as if someone had cut off hundreds of arms at the shoulder and planted them there. They were green, and I watched as they clutched at the water around them. They varied in size and seemingly age. Grotesque baby hands sprouted near the bottom, and they opened and closed their fists hungrily.
It's fucking gross.
It was then that I saw the boy.
Mm.
His eyes stared sightlessly ahead as those grotesque arms pulled his dead body downward. It seemed they had just gotten a hold of him. The arms yanked at him, burying him in the surrounding sediment. They pushed and writhed and squirmed until he was securely buried up to the chest. I stared in mesmerized horror.
Jesus.
That was when the other bodies came into focus. There must have been at least 4 more, all in varying stages of decay. Some were bloated beyond recognition, only bulky white masses that protruded loosely from the riverbed. I once again felt vomit rising in my throat and swallowed it back down. The fucking hands were feeding off the bodies, using them as fertilizer.
Ew.
The moment I clambered out of the water, I tore my mask off and retched. I couldn't stop thinking about those disgusting bodies, those grasping hands. They were like some sort of carnivorous plant, yet they were so humanoid. I vomited again at the thought. I frantically ran back to our base camp and pulled one of the other divers aside. Moose was the most experienced person on our team. He'd been diving for over 20 years, ever since moving here. I told him about what I saw. When I finished, he stared at me in cold silence.
Oh, shit.
I told you to never go near Badwater. His voice contained an iciness that even his thick Louisiana accent couldn't conceal.
Yep.
That's what you're concerned about? I was incredulous. He placed a hand on my shoulder and squeezed tightly. Don't tell anyone else about this. If the others find out you went into Badwater... He trailed off for a moment, and thought for a moment. Well, it won't be good. He shook his head like a disappointed father. But what about those things? I tried to keep my voice down, hoping no one would hear us. How many people have died because of those fucking things? Shut up, Moose said. We have an agreement. There's a reason they only grow in Badwater. Don't fuck this up. I started to say something, but the words caught in my throat. He was keeping something from me. He sighed, and I saw something like sadness behind those eyes. Sometimes you have to decide between lesser and greater evils. Even the best possible decisions can still keep you up at night. He went silent for a moment and only stared at me. Don't tell anyone about this. Maybe one day you'll understand. He walked away after that and called off the day's search. Despite what I told him, we continued to search for the next 2 days. By the 3rd day, we called it off completely and gave our condolences to the family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the fuck is happening. Moose has been acting different towards me ever since. There's an iciness to him. But every now and then he'll shoot me a knowing glance, like we're in on some secret together. I've noticed the older divers acting strangely too. What did he mean by agreement? What the fuck were those arm things? I'm considering quitting and moving away from here. I can't live with the knowledge that those things are down there, slowly feeding off the body of a young boy among countless others.
Is that it?
That's it. But it's part of a series and it keeps going, so...
Oh, shit.
Like, there's multiple parts.
That's wild.
So if you guys want to figure
hear
out
more.
the end and want to know more...
I skipped over one because I was like... I I was like, I don't, because it was looked like it had been like 3 parts, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do that one. But that is wild. I mean, obviously, there's an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And all the older divers now know that he knows.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on,
Don't
wait.
call something bad water for nothing.
I wonder how many parts there are. Let's see. There are 5 different parts.
5 parts.
5 parts.
You're reading some truths that are happening that no one else knows about.
Let's just say the last paragraph of the last part says, I have my gun with me.
Oh, fuck.
I intend to use it on myself.
Oh, fuck.
To whomever reads this, know that everything I have written is the absolute truth as I know it. Do not search for me. Similarly, do not search for this town. Only horrors await you there. Either you will be devoured by them, or you will unleash them upon the greater world.
Fuck.
I want neither of these things to occur. Just know that he exists. Know that other things like him exist in our world.
Oh, it's a Cthulhu thing.
Mm-hmm. And be wary. Live with that knowledge. Let it sit deep within your gut and never forget. Do not let things end as I have. Goodbye.
Oh, it's a Cthulhu thing. It's got to be some kind of Cthulhu thing.
Yep.
There's some Elder God shenanigans going on here.
All hands hoist the colors high. I fucking love that song. So good. It's been in my head. So I thought I would do a deep dive one. But yeah, lots of parts. So if you want to find out what was in those other parts, just search. I've been a search and rescue diver for 12 years, and it'll probably come
We're
up.
going to have to behind the scenes just go through them and be like, what the fuck is up?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, facts.
For sure.
Alrighty. My next one.
Yes.
The first time I saw the Shadow Man. I'm a 39 male living in Michigan. This is the story of the first
Not the Michigan.
and last
Oh.
time I had sleep paralysis.
Because I was about to say first time. That means there's been more.
First and last time.
All right. Well, that's nice.
I had
to
sleep
know.
paralysis. I had dated someone in the past who dealt with sleep paralysis and night terrors, so I was aware of what it entailed, but not until experiencing it for yourself can you ever really understand the dread that overtakes you. It was like a lucid dream. In fact, for a long time afterwards, I debated if it was real or not. It was the middle of the night. I had been asleep, but now was laying, kind of propped up in bed on an angle with pillows behind my back. I'm a grown man, but still sleep with a nightlight. I had a Himalayan salt rock lamp on my nightstand,
Me too, girl.
putting off a warm orange glow. As my senses came about, I realized that even though I was sitting up a bit, I had zero motor function of my body. I was paralyzed from head to toe. This alone was a terrifying notion, as someone who had been blessed with relatively good health through the years. Not being able to move was shocking, to say the least. Upon this realization, I began to take stock of my surroundings. And as I scanned the room, I saw him. My bedroom is part of an addition to my home. Therefore, it is a rather oblong shape. My bed was pushed into the corner on one side of the room. On the other side, out of the reach from the glowing nightlight, stood a shadow man. I would describe him the same as many others have described shadow people.
Tall, lanky.
He was nothing more than a silhouette, but was more black than all the darkness surrounding him.
Yep.
He stood tall with no features at all.
Yep.
But somehow I could feel his non-existent eyes fixated on me. He never moved, just stood there, staring at me vacantly. Instant terror washed over me. I could sense his malice and hostility. It felt like he wanted to hurt me. My body went into fight or flight mode, and my adrenaline surged, but there was no moving. I remember trying to will my arms to function, but it is as if they were 10,000 pounds. I could not budge.
Yep.
My consciousness was my only tool. I wanted to scream at the entity. I kept trying to yell, "This is a house of God. You are not welcome here."
You can.
Mm-hmm. But it was as if my voice was caught in my throat.
Yep.
Trying to urge the words from my mouth was met with defeat over and over again. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, it was over. Like a spell had been lifted, I gasped in a huge breath. My body seemed to tense and hug the bed mattress. I could move again. I sat up all the way and my head darted around, frantically looking for the shadow figure. It was gone. But it hadn't disappeared.
Ooh.
It didn't dissolve into thin air. It merely was there 1 second and not there the next. My heart was beating rapidly and I took in very long, deep breaths. I laid back in bed and tried to calm myself. That was a terrifying dream, I thought. But then again, was it? It didn't feel like I had been dreaming. My dreams are usually pretty bizarre. They're never in a typical setting from my life, like a bedroom. And it didn't feel like I had woken up from sleep. You know how you typically have that feeling coming from dreamland to the waking world, that sense of clarity that you're back in reality? I didn't have that at all. I didn't wake up and open my eyes. It was just as if the event had finished, and now I was laying in bed alone. It was the oddest feeling and stuck with me for weeks after. Eventually, I decided it was not a dream at all. It just felt too real. And I had to wonder if the warm glow from my salt rock lamp was the only thing that night that kept the shadows at bay.
Yep. Because salt lamps protect you.
Mm-hmm.
They protect you.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Alrighty. You have another spoopy story for me?
This is going to be my last one.
This is your last one?
Yeah.
That's okay, because I have one more, and then we're going to go.
Okay.
Let's go.
I found it during a stormy afternoon. Oh, sorry. Let me backtrack. This one's called There's a Demon Living in My Grandmother's House.
Dope. Okay. I feel like we've watched a couple movies that have been like that.
Mm-hmm. Thought it was fitting. I found it during a stormy afternoon. It was a Sunday in August, and my cousins and I had been trapped inside our grandmother's old colonial house for what seemed like weeks. Though in retrospect, it could not have surpassed a week. It felt as though we were cursed, and our childish brains time stretched on incessantly as we quickly became bored of the few amusements we were able to find within the old creaking house. Yet the rain carried on. Each droplet that landed on the massive French windows was a mocking reminder of our confinement within the old dusty walls of our grandmother's house.
I'm not going to lie, that would be the most cozy.
I would love.
Open the French doors and just let that rain.
Just let it pour.
Fuck.
I'll
That's such a beautiful nap.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm taking a nap on the couch right there.
Or like you're sitting there reading a book and you're like, let's spooky book time and just... That sounds so nice.
Right.
And those houses are usually stunning.
Oh my God, I want one.
Come on.
I want one.
Anyway.
Away from any parental attention and affection, and with only the strict gaze of our aging grandmother and her disinterested maid to chaperone us, we children quickly fell into a unanimous depression as the melancholy spirit of both the house and weather overtook us. Get over it.
I know, right?
As kids do, however, we found little ways to ease our boredom, the most recent of which was hide and seek. A game that could go on for a good while due to the vastness of the house. With each game, we discovered new hiding spots, doors that led to old storage rooms gone untouched for decades, crawl spaces filled with spiders and bugs alike, forgotten guest rooms, and once even a kitchenette tucked away in a room on the second floor. The halls alone to us children seemed to stretch for miles. It wasn't unusual to find us hidden behind the curtains of one of the many windows, desperately trying to hide our protruding feet. It was during such a game of hide and seek that I discovered a door at the end of a hallway on the first floor. I found it quite strange, as I believed that we had covered the entirety of the area, and that there was simply nothing left to discover. I had hesitated at first. There was something incredibly wrong about the peeling black paint and rusted brass doorknob that seemed to beckon me from 6 feet away. It seemed out of place amongst the faded pink flowery wallpaper, as though someone had crudely forced it into the wall despite the obvious mismatch. It was unlike the other doors inside the home, as they were all a dull sandy brown. Nothing more about them ever stood out. This one did, however, because it was simply not meant to be there. I had not felt myself walking towards it. My body had moved of its own accord, and before I had registered what I was doing, my hand was upon the doorknob, the coolness of the brass sending an electric feeling up my spine. My heart began to pound in my ears, and my breath caught in my throat. Something in my head told me there was something behind the door, and I became incredibly unsure of whether I wanted to know what it was. A cold air began to consume the hallway the longer I stood contemplating. Go away.
Yeah. Nope.
Literally walk away. Reason told me to run, and something else compelled me to stay.
That's called curiosity.
That's also called demon.
But also, curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah.
But satisfaction brought it back. But, you know. Hey.
Right, I don't know. I could hear my cousin's footsteps drawing nearer to my spot as I waited for my mind to break the reins of indecision. In the end, it was the thought of losing that broke me. The thought of my cousin Rodney's mocking face, once he found me cowering in the hallway, angered my 9-year-old mind beyond comprehension. So, I twisted the knob and swung the door open. Why would you swing it open if you're trying to be quiet?
I know, right? Especially if you know that he's getting closer.
Right. Thunder blasted through the house. The light bulb in the hallway went out. The terrified screams of my cousins rang through the house and came echoing back to me as ghostly howls, while I remained frozen in my spot in the hallway.
Damn.
If that's what happens when you open a door,
Dipping
shut it.
hard.
Shut the door.
Run.
Close it back up.
I'm gone. Bye. I fucked up. I'm sorry. Shut the door.
Yep.
I made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I now close it.
It gets worse. A strange stench wafted through the now open doorway, like moldy leaves and damp earth. I cringed as the cold air grew stronger, forcing its way through my nostrils and drying my mouth as the stench of mold overtook the hallway. Beyond the darkness of the doorway, something clattered. Every movement in my body ceased. Hairs upon the back of my neck rose into firm, terrified little spikes, and my fingers gripped the doorknob so tightly my knuckles glowed white. Then came the footsteps. Not of children running to find cover from the dark, but something slow, purposeful, and heavy.
Nope.
The sound filled my ears as they drew nearer and were soon accompanied by hollow, raspy, deep breaths that came in mortifyingly long intervals, each one closer sounding than the last.
Sorry, I'm gonna close the door now.
I thought you were gone.
Sorry to disturb your rest or whatever the fuck.
Right. Soon I could tell that whatever it was stood mere feet away from me, unable to see, and worse still, unable to move. I prayed to God that it would not cross the threshold. The stench of mold was inescapable. It became the air. I could taste it in every breath, dry yet clammy. If it weren't for my sudden paralysis, I would have gagged. The thing took another step. Another smash of thunder bombarded the house, accompanied by a strike of lightning. The fiery, angry blue light illuminated over every corner of the hall, including the form of the godforsaken creature that stood in the doorway.
Mm-hmm.
It stood 6 feet tall on hooved feet. Red burning orbs had glared back at me from an emaciated face devoid of any features, save for a mouth forged from holes torn crudely into the shape of a smile on its mold-covered flesh. 2 horns had protruded from its forehead, twisted and ugly, the monstrosity they stood upon. The rest of its form was near skeletal, and its flesh as black as the night sky. Moldy spores of orange, red, and yellow mold grew on every inch of its body, except for the ends of its bony fingers. There it grew nails as sharp as talons, glinting as though they thirsted for blood. The second our gaze met, the burning fire of its eyes blazed into an inferno. It shot an emaciated arm from the darkness, another strike of lightning illuminating its path, and heaved itself into the doorway. The carved slits on its face stretched impossibly to form a mock smile. At this, I felt a warm liquid run down my trouser pants as my bladder gave way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It rasped, and from the carved slits in its face came a raspy, impossibly deep voice in a childish sing-song tune. Found you. Hide and seek, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I slammed the door shut and ran. I heard a loud bang as it slammed itself onto the door. I didn't dare look back. I ran down the hallway, up the staircase, into the room I shared with my cousins. They had all been there, staring at me as though I'd gone mad, and in the bright orange glow of our room, no longer subject to the gaze of that hideous creature, I felt as if I had. I could not tell them what happened. No matter how many prying questions were shot at me, I could not speak. I simply slumped into the bathroom, showered, and headed to bed. Girl.
The fuck?
Okay.
I'd be like, Grandma, I'm going home.
Yeah, I'm leaving. I'm going.
Also, Grandma, what the fuck you got in your goddamn house?
I don't know, man.
Maybe lock the demon door?
Maybe.
Lock the demon door.
That's a good,
You know?
a good point.
Maybe a good suggestion?
Yeah.
Do you have a suggestion box? I'm going to write lock demon door.
Yeah, Grandma's suggestion box for when we visit.
You know, I have no interest in meeting Satan today. Thanks.
More cookies, more toys, lock the demon door. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Timmy.
I had no explanation for what had occurred, despite how desperately my 9-year-old mind had tried to rationalize. I had been unable to sleep that night, haunted by the thought of that creature coming to steal me away. Yet nothing happened. The next morning, we were greeted by birdsong and a bright morning sky. The rain had stopped. All thoughts of the day before soon fled from my mind as we all raced outside to play. The rest of my stay went by in a blur, the memory of that day blocked from my mind. I chalked it up to temporary insanity, though I truly had no idea what it meant. But as long as it allowed me to pretend what I had seen was not real, I did not care.
Mm-hmm.
My parents and I moved away soon after, thus going to stay at my grandmother's home during summer was no longer possible. As time went on, memories of my grandmother's house began to fade, until they were no more than a blur in the collection of memories that made up my childhood. The beast and the door were forgotten, and those eyes ceased to plague my nightmares. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
That was until today, however, when they all came rushing back. My grandmother passed away last week,
I had a feeling.
as you see. As such, the entire family is flown out to her house for the funeral, including myself. While wandering around on the first floor today, I found that same hallway from all those years ago. The stench of mold still dominated the air, as though it were sealed within the walls, making my stomach churn. I found the door, too. The black paint was just as crude, its peeling flakes littering the brown carpet beneath it. The brass doorknob glinted just as brightly as it had on that fateful day. Yes, I found the door all right. Only this time, it was ajar.
Oh, shit.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
That's it killed your grandma. And got the fuck out.
yep. Maybe she opened the door and got curious.
So again, grandma, what the fuck you got in your house?
I don't know, man.
Why did you trap it in there? And or why'd you let it out?
I don't like it.
Neither do I.
All right.
Neither do I.
Hit us with the last one.
Alrighty. My last one
Yeah.
is called I Caused a Haunting.
Yeah.
My birthday is October 21st. I am also absolutely obsessed with horror and Halloween things.
That makes sense if you're born in...
Mm-hmm. This was almost 11 years ago. And I've spent a lot of time trying to forget it. So it's foggy, but the details are close enough. So for every birthday, for as long as I can remember, I've done a Halloween theme. When I was younger, I'd have a sleepover party and we would watch scary movies. For my 13th birthday, we, of course, did the same thing. We ended up watching a few movies that night, but the main one we were doing was The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Ooh.
A quick detail. My aunt was living with us at the time. The entire night, she was saying something weird. I don't even remember. But things like, doing stuff like this is just asking for bad attention. But most of the night was uneventful. Around 1 a.m., we started the Exorcism movie. During a high-tension part, for those that have seen it, it would be the part where she leaves her dorm and looks outside. As she was walking through the hallway, my dog, who was in a different room, started howling. He never in his life howled before or after that night. A little later on, my aunt came upstairs. She didn't say much, but stayed a while. When it got closer to the end, another high-tension part, I half remember a barn and the demons naming themselves. My aunt, without saying a word, jumped up, and in the exact second her feet hit the ground, our power went out. But only in the living room and my bedroom. This wasn't even too alarming because it did that pretty often, but not usually at night. I only know my bedroom went out. My alarm clock was messed up. My aunt flipped the breaker and everything was fine. We didn't finish the movie. We put on some SpongeBob and all fell asleep.
SpongeBob is so real.
Yeah. The next day, 2 of my friends left really early. We were going to go to the lake, but they left before we really had a chance to talk about it.
Mm.
My best friend stayed all weekend. Nothing really happened, but the house felt heavy all day. About 3 weeks went by. Nothing happened. Eventually, though, I started having horrible dreams. Especially about one thing. It was a woman. Very tall. In a semi-simple dress. I could see lines in the features. But it was a shadow. Like a 3D type shadow. I would dream things like running through a forest or falling down a hill, and she would always be watching me. I would wake up covered in scratches, but clearly self-inflicted scratches. They would be deeper every night. We tried everything, cutting my nails every night to as short as possible, taping gloves on my hands, Mom sleeping with me. She worked 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week.
Damn.
She couldn't stay awake and watch me, but she tried.
Oh, good mama.
Eventually, getting to a point where they were on my neck and the school was asking questions. We even had CPS come to our house and ask me if I was safe. My mom was with me, and we told them the truth about my dreams. They put me into therapy. This went on for about 8 months. My brother had really bad nightmares too, but nothing specific, but really often. Eventually, we up and moved. Like, literally, I went to bed one night like normal, and when I woke up, my mom had all mine and my brother's stuff packed. We went to my grandma's after school, and we never went back to that house. And my mom moved in a few weeks later. It took about 2 months to get into a new house. The dreams stopped instantly, and the scratches cleared up within a few weeks.
Good.
And I haven't had an issue since, except I have horrible insomnia and anxiety that started around that time.
Yeah.
We did have one more visit with CPS after moving, and I did a few more months of therapy. I think they all chalked it up to extreme anxiety, except we were never able to find a cause. My husband and I recently moved to an apartment that is just a few blocks away from that house. Within 3 weeks of moving in, I started scratching myself.
Yep.
Although I didn't dream about her at all, we were on a month-to-month lease, so we only spent 2 months there, then moved out. I did bring it up to my mom last week, and she told me that the reason she moved us to my grandma's like she did was because
She saw something.
she was sitting in the living room after putting us to bed, like 10 minutes after we went to sleep. She would lay in both our rooms. She watched a tall, shadow-like woman walk through the hall, stopped, and looked into my brother's room, then went into mine.
Oh.
My mom went after it, and when she got to my room, she heard, "You've already lost her."
What the fuck?
She turned all the lights on and started packing. It's kind of a boring ending, but I've been questioning it a lot lately. Could this have just been anxiety, or was it real? I've never experienced anything else I would consider supernatural.
That's a big one.
Mhm. And she has an ad that says, I went and reread my post looking for grammatical errors, anything. And as I was reading, I realized I haven't even celebrated my birthday since that year. I don't know if it's relevant, but I wanted to put it in.
Yeah.
So since she was 13, she has not celebrated it since that day.
Wow.
Since that time.
That's crazy.
Wild shit.
Crazy stuff, man.
Lots of shadow people. Lots of shadow people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We just love shadow people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nope, I'm still not inviting any in, though.
Nope. No, thank you. Would rather not.
Hope you enjoyed those stories.
Yes, yes, yes. Our next episode is the gallows. So get ready for that one.
Gonna talk about some interesting gallows lore, history.
Not a whole lot of notes, but like the lore is a little bit more where it's at.
It's good lore, though.
You can send us an email. Let us know about your creepy shadow stories or your creepy demon stories at horrorunmasked@gmail.com. You can follow us at Instagram, Twitter, and X at Horror Unmasked. You can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, and YouTube at Horror Unmasked Podcast. And with that,
There's only one thing left to ask. Will you fear?
or will you fear not?